So, Liam, how familiar are you with this Bogo synergistic firing magic deck?
Nope.
Well, you're about to see some things you've never seen before. Unless Luke discards them, then you won't see any of it.
I'm really excited for this. So I have to admit something, Katie. I know Bogo. He's been around for
Mm-hmm.
ages. Fantastic card. I think illustrated by Adam Bunch. Adam Bunch has done a couple cards. Adam Bunch is from Oregon, a wonderful artist. You should all look him up and follow him. He's amazing. Um, but Bogo, I'm familiar with. The Prince Philip, I was not. And
Did
so
you just put together all the madness that might
Uh-huh,
happen here?
uh-huh. I did. I actually saw him out on a previous match, and I looked, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. That's Prince Philip. I'll look him up later. I don't see him very often. And I just looked it up, and I just looked those two cards up back to back.
I'll give you
I
one.
know what's going on here.
I'll give you one more to see if it makes it a little bit more painful. And her name is Femme Fatale Helga Sinclair, who says whenever this character quests, you may deal 3 damage to chosen damaged character.
Goodness gracious.
And then another card, Big Tink. So I'll put those. You can put those cards together to see what kind of things that Steve is up to, and it's super exciting. This is I know that people don't love a mirror, but this isn't a mirror. It's a funhouse mirror match, and it's very, very exciting to see who is going to have the win here. I mean, this is the finals.
Yeah, green. This is Steve taking a look and saying, looking at Ruby saying, you've got Be Prepared. I'm bummed that I can't run. You know what? Never mind. I'll find a way to run Be Prepared in my colors. And in fact, better than Be Prepared because it'll wipe your board, not mine. And if this goes off, I mean, this is a really fascinating matchup to me because as we talked about before, what Luke wants to do is build up some kind of an engine on his side of the board, and we've seen it with Deceiver of All. We saw it with Prince John. We see it with Beast Tragic Hero. He wants to build like a fairly wide board state eventually, and if not wide, at least have 3 or 4 of those combo pieces there in order to get this discard draw engine going, just overpower his opponent with resources. And when you're relying on characters to do that kind of thing, it feels pretty it's important that you keep your characters. And so when you're playing against a strategy which can wipe your board, and not even like, because the other thing you pointed out, Big Tink and some other cards, Steven doesn't even do it the combo fun way with Bogo and Prince Philip and crush everything. He can just do it with pure damage, dealing 1 damage with Tink and 1 damage and wiping a lot of the Prince Johns, the Diablos, and a lot of the lower cost characters that Luke has over there. So this is going to be a fascinating matchup. Luke has ways to deal with smaller characters with muses that doesn't deal with the bigger characters. On the other hand, Luke's alternate win in a condition other than just playing all the things and overpowering your opponent with resources is to force Steven into top deck mode. And so if Steven doesn't have a ton of card draw to leverage in the early game here, he could run out of resources when Luke starts hitting him in turn 4 and 5 and just shut him down that way. So this is going to be a really fascinating matchup because they're two amazing players.
It's so I know this is why we cast, because we're like I'm just so excited
Yeah,
about
right?
seeing what kind of madness that can be pulled off, and it's gonna be. I'm trying to see who has the higher seed going into at the end of round. Bad Vegas was at 4, Luke was at 6, so we're gonna get to see Steven being the aggressor here, and this is very fun. We've talked a few times that Steven is piloting a deck that was lovingly fathered by Ray, who put together this combo madness deck, and he piloted it to of this very seat yesterday against Sky. Now he just took down Sky in the semifinals, so now will he bring it home on day 2, or will he be second place 2 days in a row? Oh boy.
Oh, okay. No, I mean, there's a lot of key combo pieces, but look, we do have this Deceiver there. But look at the setup. It's going to take a while. There's no shift target for the Diablo. We do have the return of Hercules. I mean, we can't get the Bogo out early.
Yeah.
Luke knows now the Deceiver is there, so
Don't deceive me. But he's probably going to get deceived a little.
he's probably going to get deceived.
Just a little.
um,
But yeah, I mean, yeah, like you said, it does take patience. Both decks, I mean, honestly, it's going to be very interesting. Both of them have access to steel. We didn't see any of the, the Storms' strengths there, but both of them have access to the spot removal minus Prince John. No one can spot remove that man. But we are off inking and looking and passing the turn here. So
yeah, there's that Deceiver. The play draw is so different here with the Ursula because there's plenty of options here anyway. When you can peek your opponent's hand on the play, and then you have the opportunity to ink a song on turn 2 before your opponent played the Deceiver. It's pretty powerful. It's a little bit worse. It's a lot worse when your opponent's on the play, but several options here. And one of the things here that we're going to be thinking about is you don't like those storms usually, but storms are uninkable, and so is Prince John, and so is Diablo. And so that sudden chill starts to look really tempting when it's one of 2 inkable cards in Luke's hand.
Yeah, how could we get him to make the most unfavorable choice over? Because, I mean, this is a game of choices, and every time you make your opponent make a choice, you're like, okay, make a bad one. And so that's a terrible thing to hope on, but, I mean, that's part of the game. So he does have to morph that ink that morph, and then he found an Ursula and said, I want your song. Give me that. But Return of Hercules is famously not a song. But that is information. Oi. Is that a good oi? But that is, this is gonna be an interesting one. They rhyme. These decks rhyme, but they are not the same, and they're gonna slowly diverge as these turns go on.
And Luke here going to get a little bit of value out of that Diablo, shifting it there. Not a lot of great targets for that Storm early on. I mean, you can do some damage and all that, but happy to discard that to shift the Diablo. And then another Ursula coming down. I'm going to take another peek. We got some cards here. We did get it looks like we drew into a strength, which is unfortunate. Okay, we're going to get rid of the Storm. Okay. Steven, not afraid of the strength here.
Okay, so the engine is firing up. It's the gang's all here. That's 2 Ursula is not as scary as Ursula Diablo and Prince John saying, pick your poison. Ursula's probably, the least scary of it, but she's already done what she came here to do.
But we're getting closer and closer. I mean, Luke can do the math here. He probably knows this deck. He knows the combos. And we're getting closer and closer to some shenanigans. If we get that Bogo out, there we go on turn 4. Now, that there is the Prince Philip in here that does 1 damage to everything, or just your opponent's characters?
So Prince John himself doesn't, but what happens is to Prince John, him being there as a Floodborn deals 1 damage, and then everything that has damage on it gets banned. Not banned.
Right.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay. So yeah. So it's the go. Okay. So the Return of Hercules here looms large. It's a 5-cost character that allows him to reveal a character, and then play it for free. And that Prince Philip could be returned of her. There's no word play there. Can be put into play off of that, which I'm sure you saw a bajillion times, and paired with that Bogo is extra bad.
We saw something truly heinous happen. Steven, in his last game that was streamed, he shifted the Prince Philip on a morph, I believe. Then he returned to Hercules the Philip. He double shifted on that Prince Philip to deal 1 damage again, and then he played 1 for 9 because his double Philip got Hades, which gave him enough ink to play a Prince Philip for 9. It was one of the scariest things I've ever seen in my life.
That sounds crazy. And yes, as Zelda said, and getting that Bogo off the board is huge. I mean, that's Steven's game plan here, is to wipe Luke's side of the board, and you can't do it efficiently without that Bogo. So that is a game-changing play potentially. It is interesting, that Strength of Raging Fire was left in hand, and instead we discarded the Storm earlier.
Yeah, it looks like our focus just. To be fair, this camera's been trying to focus all day, so if it'll probably come back. I think someone's hat got it. Maybe the hat's like making it go, oh, you were going to look at the hat now. But either way, sorry. So if anyone's going, it looks like it's out of focus.
Oh, man. And this just feels, look at that. So they sing together Beyond the Horizon. Look at all that ink over there on that side of the board. We have the Prince John. We have the Diablo. We can sing it here. Double Prince John. Oh, no. Oh, no. How many cards? I need to know. So 3 cards. We'll discard those. That means we'll draw 6 off the Prince Johns. Steven will get to draw 6 new cards, but Luke will get to draw 12? 9.
9. Oh, gosh.
9? 9?
Yeah, because Prince John twice.
Oh my goodness, yeah. I mean,
and so he can.
Oh, and we're gonna, just for fun, we got all these cards. We'll shift the Diablo here, so I'll get another couple cards off your draw, and.
Yeah, a deck for people who like to draw cards. Yeah. Oof. Yeah, the chat's just kind of, wow, gross. Yeah.
Again, Beyond the Horizon doesn't feel to me so bad, except that Prince John exists.
Yeah. And then suddenly the math is like, wait a minute. That's bad, right?
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
So now he has every answer possible. He's like, I got ink, I got answers. Do what you want, Steven. Make me discard. I'm not really scared right now. I was scared, but we're good now. Well, he can't make him discard. So yeah, he's like, you got to do your little combo. And he can, but then after the combo, he can rebuild. He can be stronger.
Stronger than yesterday. So those Ursulas will come and take care of that Prince John. We're getting one of them off the board at least. As you pointed out, still plenty of ways back into this with some combo shenanigans. And Luke hasn't managed to push his low total super high. But the big thing that looms large here, I mean, the board state looks pretty bad already, but then you calculate the fact that Luke has about, like 8 cards in hand right now, maybe 9, now that he's drawn twice off those Diablos. So that's really what this deck does. And yeah, I mean, Steven now is going to have to draw into like the perfect few draws every turn to just keep everything under control again and again and again, which he can do. But
it's gonna, it's a battle. And now it's the finals, so they don't have to play fast. But the good news is both these players, they know the cards, so that's the good news. But oi, that's I feel bad that I'm echoing what the chat said. Oi,
yep. Yeah, once you revealed the hand and like we saw the Beyond the Horizon, and you look and you saw the Prince John, I didn't see the second Prince John either. I don't know if he drew that or if he had that, but I saw the Beyond the Horizon with everything on the board, and I was like, oh, that's bad. And then he dropped the other Prince John. I was like, oh, that's really bad.
Yeah, it's beyond your worst nightmare suddenly. All right, so he's kind of, I mean, the combo becomes less and less scary as I don't know. I wish there was a card. Oh, okay, that's a good visual. More than 7 is how many he has in hand, and he'll just start looking. What you got over there?
We'll take a look. Oh, he hits a target. There's a Sad Beast too. Prince John will draw another card off that discard. And Sad Beast, not a terrible card if you're trying to claw your way back in. It's a big body to deal with. It draws you an extra card every turn. Feels less good drawing extra cards when you're staring at 2 Diablos. So check that. 3 Diablos. So there you go. 2 of those Diablos are turned online by questing here. We'll also quest with the Ursula and the Diablo. I take it back. We're going to challenge into a couple characters here. Get them off the board.
All right.
All right.
Yeah. And it's bad because it's bad. It's bad, guys. No, I want to see some of the cool stuff that Steve's deck can do. But this is the battle of look what I can do. And unfortunately, Wonder got to the cool stuff a little bit faster than Steve did. Oh, wow, it worked. I said, hey, can you help refocus? And it happened that fast. So, wow, Sky's really close to the table.
Gotta hand it to him.
Yeah, that was really fast.
That was really good. And
so shout out to Sky, top 4 finisher.
And there we go. Okay, so that was
it. That refocused the camera and said, "Let me refocus the play strategy here." And that was scary. But Steven, Bad Vegas, he knows better than anyone when these games are winnable and when it's time to go to the next. And when your opponent has 40,000 cards and you have less than that, probably time to go to the next one. But here's hoping we will see the Bogoing because I think you'll quite like it.
Yeah, and so one of the stories of this match here is Luke just having all the removal. Steven has like a character-based combo deck. It needs to get a couple pieces on the board. It also needs, Steven needs to put some characters on the board to apply pressure to Luke's board. And we saw in the early game, I mean, Luke had how many? Like at least 2 storms, maybe another one, a couple strengths. And just everything you needed to kind of keep things in check over on the other side, and having that strength for the Bogo especially was pretty huge. So, it bought Luke time to kind of get into the mid game there and just, go bonkers with that one turn. But
yeah, and the thing is like you talked about like Ed Chu's player face, and I am always so shocked because these players when they're playing, you think they're gonna be like, I would be giggling, I'd be going, he's showing off his very cool deck box. I'm sure he's sponsored by what's it? Heavy Play. Those magnetic, I have it right here. I'm not sponsored, I just have one. Very nice. But either way, Luke showed that man, you gotta be patient with these decks, but if you're patient, it pays off, and that was scary, exciting, and now we're on game 2. Let's see, can Steven do the Bogo? I just want to see it. We love a game 3, and I want to believe that, I want to keep people not angry about Diablo in the chat, even though no matter what, you're going to be probably mad at Diablo. Both decks have Diablo, but not both decks have Prince John. So let's go to a game 3.
I don't, Diablo is a foul card, when he's unchecked, but there are plenty of answers for him now,
Yes.
and there's ways to play around him. And Diablo actually disappeared like a while from the majority of the competitive meta because there was just so, like in the Genie Wars days, because there was just so many things to keep him in check. To me, the thing that makes this deck so brutal is Prince John, and coupled, you could throw Muses in there too, but Prince John, as a lot of players will say, Jeebus and I think Luke and actually a bunch of others, is don't put static abilities on characters with ward or
or
or vice versa,
non-exerted. Yeah,
or
non-exerted
both.
characters. Because if he was exerted, then yeah, if you had to have some kind of downside. But
Yep.
it's like an item. He's just a very cute item that you can cash in for 2 lore if you need to in an emergency.
Sits over there, counts as gold, gives you value.
But he looks so scared when it's him by himself. That's one of my favorite things. Is people like, he's so formidable. But have you ever cleared a board and he's just standing there like, hey guys, I think you forgot to help. So he's not the scariest lion, but yes, he definitely makes a lot of scary things very possible.
Yeah, so let's see what we're doing here. So catching up here. No, did I miss? Was there no turn 1 there? Turn 2 morph?
Yeah, I mean, he certainly inked. He inked, and then turn 2 morph, and now he's on his turn 2. So yeah,
Okay.
he's not playing anything turn 1, morph on turn 2. So no turn 1s for either one of them. And now we are off to the morph. Morph. The fun thing about morph is morph can be anything. And he says, just so you know, I inked a morph, I ink a beast, and here we go. What do you got?
And we'll take a look. Nothing there, but we do see, I think is that the beast down on the bottom there?
Yes, we see Return of Heat. Oh gosh,
Return
I
to
don't know. That
Hercules.
last one, it's tough to say.
That looks like, is that the Helga there? And then I can't see the last one. I think
No.
it might be the beast, which is, what I think Steven would want here. We do have a couple Deceiver of Alls, but no songs to pair them with. So one of them will go into the Inkwell here. Let's see if we have the shift. We do have the beast. It was the beast. That's great. That's a great turn 3 play here. Not a lot of really clean answers to it. Luke can put some damage on it to turn off that card draw. That's the ideal scenario here, I think, for him, other than establishing a board. But definitely something that'll get a card drawing going for Steven.
Yeah, there's 2 battles going on. Luke versus Steven, and then Steven's hat versus the focus. And so I'm sorry if I know sometimes people are like, make it focus. I can't. But it'll come back. And
I think Steven's hat's undefeated so far.
Yeah, Steven's hat's KO and the autofocus, because the hat's like, that's really pretty. And it is.
Look at me. Look at me.
So now we have 2 villain. Well, no, Beast isn't a villain. Well, I mean, if you're asking Gaston, he's a villain, but we're not. But he is presenting 2 lore, card draw, and challenging power. So are you going to answer it now or wait to see? And we'll just wait.
Ooh, his own Deceiver Ball there. Again, a scary card to leave up right there. No damage on the beast, so we'll get a couple extra cards, or an extra card off of that. We drew the Diablo and then the Clarabelle. So another Floodborn there to power Gogo if we ever get it. So leaving that beast there is nice, but Deceiver of All is... You don't like Deceiver over there. But great card to draw into here. The Deceiver is going to take a look and make sure that we can't... Oh, so there we go. So Sudden Shale could make you discard cards, but a double Sung Strength is going to do some work over to Steven's side of the board. So
yeah, I guess it just depends how good he's looking at his cards. Like, how good are mine? And we see a Clarabelle, we see a Diablo.
It's tough.
Yeah. Do you like your characters or do you like your cards?
Because look what else we have in hand. It's the Prince John. So on its own, Strength or the Sudden Chill, like, it's bad, and you don't like it. But Sudden Chill with Prince John feels really bad. But
how bad would you like to feel? Would you like to feel sad about your characters or your hand size? And then he's got a Pete too, so he's like, literally. I mean, I kind of have lots of fun things. But we'll go ahead. We'll go ahead for the strength and say I can recover. I can rebuild. Just don't take my Clarabelle, please. I have a plan. Don't worry. It'll all come together later.
Well, so yeah, it's good, interesting choice there. I don't know what's right or wrong in this scenario because I haven't got a good look at Steven's hand, and clearly Steven making the choice, making the right choice for him in this moment, because we are going to get some hand pressure here. Luke's going to draw a couple things, but
Yeah, let's
Yeah, it's
see a Diablo and a Clarabelle. I'm 90% sure.
mhm.
Um,
Now Clarabelle, I mean, huge here. Clarabelle, it goes into the inkwell, so makes great ink. Clarabelle.
she's inkable.
Um,
Say what you want about her, but that girl is inkable. And yeah,
yeah.
that's all. He could just do a deceiver and prepare and brace for whatever is about to happen. But I have a feeling there's going to be some discard happening after maybe we get a little Prince John out for a treat.
I think so too, because we can sing twice. We could also sing it with the Ursula, but we will sing it twice there. Discard the Helga, and thinking about the other, Luke will draw 2 off this Prince John. Yeah.
Yeah, and so this deceiver now is going to be leaving us. This is her only time she's going to be singing twice, which is okay. He knows that by turning her sideways. She is vastly in the territory of a beast. But here we go. Get out of cove. Now we can't go to the cove yet, but that'll come in handy later.
I mean, and little quest there, little cheeky little quest with the Ursula, get a lore, and yeah. So part of the decision here for Steven, of course, without that strength, likely that beast remains. So he will get draw. He'll have to discard cards, but he'll get an extra card off that beast as long as it's there. We will likely see it, yeah, exert into the strength, target the deceiver, or deceiver of all. That'll be 2 damage there. Not enough to banish it, enough to get a card, but the Ursula looks like we'll go in and clean things up. You have Ursula on Ursula action there. And the
Revenge.
beast left undamaged to keep that card draw going. Bogo, though, now coming down. Bogo, for those who didn't watch earlier, a card that says whenever you play a Floodborn character, deal 1 damage to each opposing character. So if that can stay around, and possibly the reason you discard that Strength of Raging Fire earlier is because keeping Bogo on board is key to your game plan. So if that sticks around, shenanigans can ensue here.
Shenanigans are all in the menu.
There are, because plenty of Floodborn available. We do see the Pete as one option in hand. All you need is a couple to clear out that Prince John by itself, unless he goes in the cove, and then he's hanging in the cove. But
Now,
let's
has
see.
he inked? Okay, so he's about to
Yep.
ink. So here's something that he could do that's really quite fun. You're like, oh, Prince John, nothing we can do about him. How about a giant tink with Bogo? Oh, I grabbed my swords, and now we don't need to exert John. And he's not in the cove. Now he will be in the cove. So, we're going to have to do some math. Maybe it's harder to pull off than with the cove, but it is a fun thing that's possible, and Bogo can't do that. So I got excited. We're not going to see it, but maybe one day.
Maybe one day. Oh man, that feels so bad. That's
It
one of the
does.
ways back in this game. Will it be the? Okay, it's Deceiver of All. Fine, you don't have the songs for it. That's probably one of the ideal
Yeah.
cards to get rid of in that
All
scenario.
right.
But we will get a card off the Prince John there. Yeah, so not and Ursula Deceiver will head into that beast. Tragically, Steven won't be drawing any more cards off of it this turn, but it does get extra angry.
It is
So a
mad.
great answer for the cove there.
Yes, it now has a cove. It's like, listen, I used to draw cards, and now I just fight coves for a living.
I'm cove killer, and there it goes, right on cue. And yeah, so Luke now with it kind of a small board. We do have that Bogo in hand. We can play it again, reestablish that.
Yeah, and I mean, both these players, they don't really have. Oh, yeah. So it's time for Bogo Part 2, the electric Bogo. So we will see if he gets to do the cool things that Bogo can do, which is, deal with a myriad of problems, fire up a Helga, deal tink problems. I don't know what else he has in hand, but Space Pirate is a good one. I quite like that one. It definitely changes the math where Beast, you can try to sing, but now you cannot, which Speed, Shifty Pete, Space Pete, all valid.
That's true. Pete Space Pirate, great card from Arcasia's Island, works its way into these decks. When he's exerted, your opponent can't exert to sing songs, if I'm correct. And he also gave us himself Resist 2. Not great taking the whole turn off there, but it is a bigger body on the board. Pete says no songs can be sung for Steven. Steven says, hey, you can't do any actions on your turn with that Pete there. So we'll shut down a lot of removal. That'll leave that Diablo and Bogo, immune to the targeted removal in a way. So this feels like an extra good turn here for Steven. And it does feel like Luke is a little on the ropes here.
Yeah, he's definitely able now to hedge his bet a little bit and say, well, I got a few different options. Like we mentioned, Floodborn, Diablo is Floodborn, so that Bogo trigger happens, which gets past the ward because it's everybody gets damage. But he says, I have my own Floodborns. I can recover from this. I just have to survive this turn, which with resist, guess what? Not a problem. Now, does it now? Because if he has resist,
he only has resist when he's exerted.
Oh, thank you.
So,
Okay, there we go. I was like,
yeah.
how is he so powerful? But yes, now
Yeah,
he's
so
got resist.
When he was ready, yeah. So we will get that beast come down. It'll deal 1 across the board. That'll. Yep.
Okay.
There
Yeah,
it
just
goes.
challenging around. That beast was an angry beast and went one-shotted that space pirate, and now it's just 2 little Diablos that are very fragile. Just kind of against the world.
Yeah, and a tough turn for Luke. I mean, getting those Diablos means they have to be. They have to survive a turn. So that was great. Luke can set up now a big draw. Those Diablos are unlikely to be around after the next turn, but we'll get him a couple cards going into this turn. Steven indicating their empty hand. So that's what you like to see. Then Luke now dropping a beast, hoping that there's no Floodborn drawn here. We'll get an extra card off that beast.
Which we know he built this deck for that. He's like, no, this is the Floodborn deck. I invited all my favorite Floodborns to the party, and just like that, 2 damage for nothing. And it's yeah,
2 damage across the board. Clears off those Diablos, puts damage on the beast, shutting off that card draw. Luke now, not a lot of cards in hand either. I see a small stack down there.
a meager stack, but yeah,
a meager stack.
And as we know, I mean, so we talk about steel being like, okay, well, steel spot removal, rubies wide, but Ray, who's in the chat, who's Bogo's father, or rather the archetype father of this deck, it basically says, guess what? Spot removal, not me. I can wipe any board, and it's really cool to see that you have different ways to wipe the board. You can stack your damage. You can have your prince fill up. We talked to Steve. We had an interview with him, and he says it's a challenging deck because you do have to. It's modular, and you have to choose the right path over and over again. But if you play your cards right, which is the right turn phase here, you can do incredibly powerful things.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple songs being sung there. Strength of Raging Fire, last turn, clean things up. Also, I'm Still Here, a fun song that worked its way in these decks a while ago. Zandsad and Aaron Rubin kind of putting that on the map a little bit, along with some other players, but playing that in a challenge, a card that gives resist to your character and also draws you a card. So back over to Luke here. Fun thing, talking about this combo, Katie, one of the things I love is when older cards are dusted off. People find them in the bulk pile of history and then bring them into a tournament. And Bogo's been around since Rise of the Floodborn.
He has, sitting there with his arms crossed going, does anyone... Oh, that's the wrong one. Sorry. Right, Bogo in the chat. But all Bogos are beautiful. And this one is one that, he just sat in everyone's bulk being like, what are you worth? Like $1? And now we see he's worth more than his weight in gold. Now, a chip comes in. It's not over, but...
16 cents, in case you're wondering.
Oh, God. It's going to go up to 17 after this match. Mark my word.
Yes. Get them now. And then if there's an answer for Chip, it's Strength of Raging Fire. Diablo will sing that. Not a great singer. It comes out a little screechy, but does the work there, gets rid of that chip. And Luke now kind of cleaning up his side of the board.
He says, I don't want it. I see it. You played every good card. I mean, I think it was all the legendaries and a super rare just vibing together and having a party. And now we saw what both decks can do. So it's a tale of 2 Emerald Steel decks. They are both alike in dignity, but it's in fair Omaha where we lay our scene. How's that doing? Is that something? But either way, this is for all of it. This is the finals of the second day. I
mean, both houses here at an equal chance of victory. Both versions of this green steel deck. I honestly think it's either player's game at this point. What's interesting about both is they're both kind of mid-rangey decks, kind of like late mid-rangey. They have early game plays and they can do things in the early game, like turning on the Diablos and putting a little bit of hand pressure on, but both of them want to do like combo-y things in the mid to late game. And so it's going to be a matter of, I think, one, can somebody get an unchecked Diablo on board in the early game? That's one key to victory. 2 is you have to draw into your removal, either for the Diablo or for one of your opponent's combo pieces. And then as you get into the mid game, do you have your combo pieces? Does Steven have the Bogo? Does Luke have the Prince John? And can you establish those and start to do, what you want to do? But I think, although it's kind of probably close to even with these 2 very talented players, being on the play feels really good in this matchup. for a variety of reasons. One of them is the deceiver difference, hitting on the play
Yes.
versus on the draw, and the Diablo on the play versus the draw. In this matchup in particular, the play draw I think is important.
We talk so often about how, like, the most problematic is Prince John and Diablo, but I feel like turn one, where they're like, "Show me everything you have," followed by turn two of "Now give me that," is one of the more terrible feelings in Disney Lorcana, because it's like, stop looking at my stuff. He hasn't even finished cutting, and he's already having to show. And we got all the hits, and by all the hits, I mean we're missing a couple things that we would want to see, but we have a draw here. We have a turn one
Yeah.
Diablo, and that's all we really need right now. We'll figure everything else out along the way.
Yeah, we drew into that Prince Philip there. Not a lot of good here for a while, unless you can pair with a Hercules. So it looks like a Clarabelle going to the Inkwell. But yeah, a slower hand. We, like you said, love to have that Diablo. We can take a look at our opponent's hand, establish that board presence. If you
Would you?
draw into the Diablo, you can play it.
Oh,
Luke here, though, again, we don't have the Diablo shift line, but we are going to start, you do have the deceivers, but not a lot of targets for them. So interesting here. I mean, both players are kind of trying to draw into some of their key pieces. Luke doing a song check there. Nothing found.
yeah. As we know, the Return of Hercules.
Oh,
He said, Do you think he giggled? I would if I top deck a song after Ursula came into my hand. Now he does have to shift to Diablo in order to do that, but at least he has it for later. That's a mouse tool for later.
solid pull.
Yeah, and I mean it's double good, because if we don't have a cove, then that is a right-sized removal for everyone's favorite shifted legendary bird, Diablo. So yeah, it's a very nice thing to have in your hand. And if you need to shift, perchance, that is an option. Although not right now, not yet. Let's wait.
Yeah, it's an interesting Deceiver of All goes into the Inkwell there, and for sure you could have comboed that with the let the Storm Rage on. But Luke, if I remember it, actually had two Deceivers in hand, and so as soon as you drop the Deceiver of All, that's a prime moment for your opponent to do another song check. Luke, however, drops his own Deceiver of All, on his side of the board, setting up some shenanigans if he draws into some songs. Diablo will quest for one, start that lore race. Or keep that lore race going, rather.
Yeah, just say, listen, we're going to put pressure back and forth and just keep passing it. And the pressure is definitely on. And now we have two targets for removal. Now, mind you, that we'd have to throw the well, the Ursula's not exerted and you can't get rid of her with Storm, but so she's a little scary too. And so he has to be careful here. What does he dislike the most? And he says, I'll just
There we go. Now we know we have a couple Pete's in hand, so really, I mean, once you see that Deceiver of All, you don't want her to do anything. So setting up that Pete, you can sing Storm this turn. Luke is going to play the chip away at
I do
at
like
Steven's
that.
hand a little bit.
That is quite nice. It doesn't always hit the foul, I'm on the fence, but here we go, and we're chipping away, and we got one Bogo down, probably three more to go. But we do know that Bogo is he's kind of like the cornerstone of a lot of the combos in this deck.
Another fun card drawing into there, we did get the Return of Hercules, which is available in 2 turns, which would enable him to play for very, very cheap some powerhouses he has, including that Prince Philip, which I think he has in hand. Pete, once he does his thing, also a great singer, will sing Let the Storm Rage On, banish that chip,
now,
and
how
draw a
important
card.
is that Return of Hercules? How much? Because he could discard it to shift a Diablo and start some card draw, or save it.
Yeah, I mean, do you go for it, or do you... Okay, you do shift a little. I think this is the more conservative play. I think this is probably the right play.
He's investing in himself.
And then we're going to follow it up with that additional Pete. So Diablo there, probably safe this turn. I can't think of an answer without any action. So we'll get a card off of the Diablo, ink the Tinkerbell, back over to Luke. Stares at that Diablo, inks a beast, plays a beast.
Yeah, so we are slowly showing all our favorite cards. We're saying, hey, you want to know some of my favorite cards in this deck? This one.
But this.
How many Pete's you got? Do you have forever Pete? And surely not. It is time for Beast.
I get a beast, you get a beast. And tragically, no more Pete this turn, so all of that song-based removal is available for Luke on his next turn, and a Deceiver of All sitting there just waiting to sing some songs.
I mean, we talked about I'm Still Here. That is a song of all the songs. It's like Removal scary. Discard scary. I'm still here. I don't believe. I think Steven's running that and not Wonderland. But even that one's annoying because you're like, oh, thank God it wasn't removal. But then you realize they drew 2 cards and also,
And also my
resist.
Diablo has resist 4.
Yeah. So it's
Oh,
and
there
there
it
we
is.
go. We said one for you and one for you. Ouch. That
And
is 2 Pete's. A tale of
yeah,
2 Pete's. Now they can shift. They can. These Pete's are not. They can sing. They can shift. It is not the saddest thing that you've ever seen in the world. However, I would note that Wonderland's board state is not not something you want to see. You got to get that combo firing up fast. Return of Hercules Part 2. Can we get you?
we did draw into the Pete like 1 turn too late here. That Pete will challenge in that Deceiver Ball. Get her off the board, please. I'll have no more of those double songs. Thank
Had
you very
enough of
much.
that.
I've had enough of that. And then we have
And
5. It is the Bogo. Okay.
everybody's the man of the
Uh,
hour. It was Vinny. Now it's Bogo time.
Yeah, we did see one go to the discard pile, but you know what BOGO stands for, Katie? Buy one, get one, and the second one coming out here.
That's
Um,
yeah. It's beautiful. It's you're really hitting here. I'm really loving it. It's good. I usually get to see the puns at home, and I'm like, it's happening. I'm watching them being made in the factory. But Bogo.
I've been waiting for that one for a while. Like, it had to be a second
Yeah,
BOGO.
right. You're like, okay. But here we go with the Bogo going, hey, please don't sing any songs to me, please, because there is a myriad of ways to get rid of this Bogo, who is like I said, kind of a cornerstone of many of the combos that we can pull off. He synergizes with the Helga, he synergizes with Tink, and if he's off the board, it's rough. That's all I have for it. It's a rough time. We've only seen one gone. We can't bear to see it again.
I agree. And this is one of those like pivotal turns here. Like, does that BOGO stick until the next turn? Because that is what it's going to enable some shenanigans to ensue. We have Floodborn in hand, so we can do some damage across the board. We also could draw into a Hercules, play a Prince Philip. Can he stick around?
So this is one way. It's not a great choice because he is going to have to discard 2 cards. Now, Luke doesn't get a draw off of it. So if we're looking at rose-colored glasses, there's no Prince John. But other than that, it feels bad because I think he has 3 cards. So he has to discard all but 1 card.
Yeah, and I know the Space Pirate's in there. I know the Diablo's in there. So there's at least 2 Floodborn. You probably want to keep one of them. We do get rid of the referee. It's probably
That's just, yeah, okay.
And sequencing here. I mean, sequencing so important because forcing him to make that choice, planning around that BOGO being on the board, and then forcing the discard just feels really mean. There goes the other Diablo. That's what Stephen was saving to pair with the BOGO. Now we'll do some damage to the game's referee, get him off the board, back over, and we have the BOGO in hand. And that felt really, really bad.
Some people say, should casters be on screens, should casters not? And maybe we shouldn't because people are watching me go, because like I can't not make those faces when you see these very dastardly deeds. We see Bogo coming down for the second time saying, hey guys, don't worry, I'm not out. And then we don't talk about Bruno again. It is just like deja vu. And, fun fact, if you bounce it back to hand, you have 1 in hand. You just discard it.
And then Luke here setting up. I mean, exerting that beast at this point is totally fine. He seems pretty safe. Steven drawing a card. I don't even know. I mean, clearly looked at it. I didn't see it.
He's like, I don't want to.
Like, it's not what I wanted. There's a myriad of things that could be. A return to Hercules would feel really bad. But Luke now with those, this deck has 3 primary card draw engines, and 2 of them are sitting on board right now. Oh, it's an I'm Still Here.
Nearly useless in this scenario other than ink, and he says I'll just invest and do, because I mean we have seen if he's able to do something kind of cool, like we saw Prince Philip paid out of pocket, which was a very cool thing, a morph and then shifting. There's possibilities, and ink is a good way to invest it, and that is, that's enough to get rid of a Diablo. So this is rough because but we see a Beyond the Horizon in the hand.
One fun note here is that that card goes in the inkwell. You can actually you give chosen character resist and draw a card, so you can play it on your opponent's characters, I believe. So that is a play line that's available. Yeah. Instead, though, choosing to ink instead of drawing into something that could have been discarded with the Prince John. The Diablo is gone, but the Prince John's there now. That's just all the tools.
Yeah, Steven said, "Do you want to see every song I have in my deck?" And he has. Or not song, but action, because we saw I'm Still Here, Return of Hercules, Storm, and he says, wow. Hey Luke, I think you're gonna win this. Horizons. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah.
So that was That was really great top decking, really great playing. I mean, to be fair, it's great when you have two Emerald Seal players because nobody can be like, I don't like that deck. And it was a tale of two different versions, and we got to see both of them do the cool stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, Katie. I'm glad we got to see both decks showcase what they're trying to do in game 2 there. We really saw Steven's deck, clicking right along, doing all the combos he wants to do. Never got to see that Prince Philip Bogo combo, which I'm kind of bummed about, but I know you saw plenty of it earlier on. But yeah, unfortunately for Steven, as the chat pointed out, just bricked there for a couple turns, drawing into cards that were kind of useless to him. And, that green steel deck, the discard deck, like, it has so many must answer cards that unless you're drawing into everything you need to answer the Deceiver of All, to answer the Prince John, to get the Diablo offline, the Beast, one of those things left unchecked allows you to run away with the game. And it's fascinating.
What a weekend. We saw yesterday, first place Skylar, second place Vegas. Today, first place Luke, second place Vegas. And with that, I bet Luke is feeling like, you know what? I'm going to go to Disney World.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
I won this. I go to Disney World next weekend.
Luke, you just won the second day of the Omaha double 1K weekend. What are you going to do next?
Go to Disney World.
Yes,
Baby,
there you
I'm
go.
going to Disney World.
Yes. So can't wait.